Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Komodo by SchilMil Games.
Komodo is a game that came out a while back, actually, and this is a reprint of a classic game, a tile-laying game, in which you are preparing for an asteroid that is coming to destroy the world, or at least a certain part of the world, and it is up to you to build habitats to protect these little animals. You are going to be laying tiles, building habitats that are big enough for them to live in, and you're going to be playing cards and making some actions happen on your turn that's going to shake some things up for the other players. Let's take a look at it down below. We'll explain how it works, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer.
All right, I have Komodo on the table. Let me show you guys how this tile laying hand management game is going to work, in which you are going to try to form habitats for all these different animals. You can see that there are 4 different sets of animals that come in different sizes, and each of these little standees represents a real animal. You can see that they all have pictures of real animals on them. Let you take a look at those ones back there. And the blue ones are going to be your water animals. The yellow ones are going to be more in desert areas. Green, the darker green is jungle. And the lighter green is, I guess, grasslands or something of the sorts. Anyhow, each of these are going to have a specific animal on it, and the number on the top is going to be how many points you get if you find a habitat for that animal, but also it means how big of a habitat you need for that animal. And you will note that there are some that have 2 different tile or standees for the same animal, just one is a smaller size than the other. You also have some cards in this game, and of course you have tiles. Now, how this game is going to work, you are going to be taking an action on your turn, and you have a handy-dandy player aid here to keep track of your actions that you are going to be doing in this game. And ultimately, as I mentioned, you are going to want to put these out here in habitats, scoring the points. Whoever has the most points is the winner. On your turn, you're going to choose one of these 3 options: house animals, stock up, or exchange. So let's go over these in order. Housing animals, you're going to place as many tiles as you would like out of your hand, and use your wild cards to try to house these animals. So placing tiles, how that's going to look. Now, all tiles are going to have 9 squares on them. You can see that there's a faint grid on here, a 3x3 grid. And so each square in that grid is going to have a certain habitat. As you can see, this one is mostly desert with some water right here. And so you have to match at least 1 square with 1 square. So this would work here, as would this, because these 2 squares match up. Now, I have a desert habitat here that is 1 full connection here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if it were my turn and I placed that tile and I had one of these cards in my hand, all these cards are going to represent the different animals in the game. And let's say that I had this card right here, if I can get to it. Yeah, the taipan. Now, if I had this card in my hand right here and I had this habitat, we just said that it's 9 spaces big. Well, I only need 5 spaces to be able to play this, so I could put it face down in front of me. I could grab that matching standee, this one right here, and I would place that in the habitat. And this habitat is for this taipan. No other animal could occupy this specific habitat. Now, the water right here, if it were a little bit bigger and there were an animal that somebody wanted to play into it, they could play into this water, but this sand cannot be used by any other animals except the other taipan. If there was another taipan in this area were bigger, it could house that taipan as well, but no other animals. That's basically what you are going to be doing most often on your turn. You will be also stocking up, taking 2 animal tiles. You could draw from there for the animal tiles, or take 2 animals plus 2 tiles, or 3 of a type. So you could take 3 tiles, 3 cards, or 2 animals and 2 tiles. Now, that's the second action. The third action is you could exchange any number of tiles or animal cards. So those are the 3 things that you are going to be doing on your turn, and this area is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you play more and more cards, and the game is going to end when all the tiles are depleted or all the cards are depleted. And if you are stuck with any animal cards that you haven't formed habitats for, that's going to be negative points. You are going to get points for the animals that you have created habitats for. Now, I mentioned there are wild cards in the game, and there's going to be 2 of every pair of these, and they're all going to be out face up so that you can see which are available to you. In a 2-player game, there are only going to be 1 copy of each of these cards, and you get to take wild cards for every animal that you put in a habitat on your turn. So if I only put 1 animal in a habitat, I get 1 wild card. If I put 3, I get 3 cards. You can only have a maximum of 3 of these wild cards. So let's go over what each of these cards do. You've got animal escapes, and so this is a card that's going to allow you to cause an animal to escape. More often than not, you will be playing this on your opponent, but you could do it on yourself if you'd like. And essentially what happens is you play it and you put that animal back on the player's card who controls that particular animal. And so this animal is not in a habitat, and it would be worth negative points at the end of the game if I don't get it in a habitat before the game is over. You could do animal exchange. Everyone passes 1 animal card to the player on their left. You could do animal request, which is where you request to see all of a type from a player's hand and then swap one of your cards with theirs if you like to. Animal on tap. You can draw 2 animals and keep playing. So this is not one of your actions on your turn. You could play this and then take another action. You have land barter. So this is where you get to try and work up a trade with another player, showing 1 or 2 tiles. You have land lever, which is where you get to draw 2 tiles and then keep playing. Works the same way as the animals on tap card. Then you have security. So you can protect your animals from being released by using the security card and putting one of these padlocks on that habitat. So if I put a padlock on this habitat and I had my taipan there, no one could free that taipan. They are locked into this habitat. It's a way to preserve your points. That's the security card. Then you have relocation, which allows you to relocate an animal to another suitable area. It lets you free up some space on the board. You have recycling. Swap this for any card in the display. So you could hold on to this card till you see the card that you want in the display. So as I mentioned, there's only 2 copies of each of these cards, and in a 2-player game, you only play with 1 copy each. So you might take this until you see the card that you want. And then lastly, there's remodeling. Relocate or rotate 1 to 3 terrain tiles, because you may play terrain tiles out on the board without placing an animal into it, because maybe you just don't have a big enough habitat for the animal that you are wanting to put in. Maybe you place some tiles, hopefully get some other tiles, see if somebody adds on to your habitat. You never know what could happen in this game. Now, there is a cooperative version of this game. You can see here that we've got a hand size. There's a hand size for the standard game, by the way. There is a hand size for the cooperative game, and essentially the cooperative game is going to work where everybody has their tiles and cards face up on the board, and you have to house an animal on every player's turn. If you don't, then the game is immediately over and you lose. Also, you are going to reveal 1 threat card per round. There's going to be 8 rounds, and you are just going to have to deal with what the threat is. Terraform, relocate, or rotate 2 terrain tiles. So this is going to mess up the board. Land lever, place all of your remaining tiles now. I'll show you one more example. Species exchange. Everyone passes 1 animal card to the player on their left. So this is just going to really mess up your plans. Essentially, these are replicas, a lot of them, of the wild cards. And so you're going to have to deal with that throughout the course of the game. Anyhow, that is Komodo. Let's go up top, share our thoughts on this one from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective.
And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Komodo from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective while you check out some gameplay footage between Sam and I. So Sam, first impressions, seeing this out on the table, you've got the different animals, you've got the tiles. What were your first thoughts?
Tile laying. Love it.
Yeah?
I love tile laying.
Okay.
Love to lay me some tiles.
All right. If you were ever to be considered a gamer, even though you're not a gamer, it might be in a tile laying world, huh?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
That is probably one of my top three mechanics, yeah.
And I'm the same. Tile laying is definitely one of my
I think that helps too because both of us really enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. And this is straight up tile laying.
Yeah.
There is some hand management, some card action selection going on here as well. But the main idea is building these habitats with the tiles. And you as a non-gamer, how did that work for you?
I really enjoyed this game. It's simple. It's just enjoyable. I wouldn't say like a peaceful game because we definitely have games that we've described as peaceful and calming, but it's not so cutthroat either. Like it is a very, laid back. Yeah, that's a better.
Which is funny because the theme of this game is meant to be chaotic. In fact, the back of the box says the world is in chaos. But you don't really get that with this game.
That does not come through. But it's still a really good game. I really enjoy the selection of the animals and building the different... there's some... a little bit of internal turmoil where you're trying to build that landscape, that habitat, and you can't quite make it work. At the end, it was very frustrating because I had what I needed, but I could not make it work.
Or the thing that I found with this game is that you're also battling against the layout of how things have developed because you run out of space. You run out of opportunities to be able to create a habitat because if you place a tile here, then it's going to connect to this one over there, and now you've just made one giant one where you needed to have two separate ones.
Yes.
And
there is some thinking to it. Like it's not just straight up putting a tile down. You really have to think about what your options are. And when we first started playing the game, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. But as you go through it, it is very enjoyable.
Yeah. And first impression for me was that this was going to be a game that seemed too straightforward. That it was a concept that it was, well, I just need to have 15 blue spaces. And 15 blue spaces. Boom. Now I can put in the dolphin or the cuttlefish or whatever. But then as you start to build the other ones and everything starts to develop, you start to realize, okay, I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
And your eyes start to open to the experience of it all. The action selection, I thought, was a nice touch to add into this game. With the, I say action selection, you're basically choosing your bonus card that you're going to get to do on top of your main action of what you're doing in this game. And I thought that was a fun thing to do because it gives you the extra tiles, it gives you the extra animals to work with, but at the same time, you don't want to have too many extra animals because those are negative points if you can't build the habitats for them.
Yeah.
So there are some meaty choices in all of that going on with this. And then you add on the fact of all the tiling we've talked about. I think it mixes well. It works well in conjunction with one another. So easy enough for you to kind of find your way through it and find a strategy that would work for you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But fun enough to keep you engaged?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's get into our pros and cons on this one. What were the things you really enjoyed about Komodo?
I enjoyed the tile placement part of it. I liked creating the habitats, and I liked the options that I had with your tiles and the animals and the other cards. What were they called?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think the
wild cards.
Wild cards. Yeah.
There was just a lot of not too many options, not too much going on that you feel like you don't know what to do. There was the perfect amount of going onness.
And for me, one thing I like about it is that there is a little bit of take back because you can cause the other player's animals to run away.
Yeah.
But you have a way to mitigate that with those locks. You can lock in your big, heavy scorers, and nobody can mess with those.
Which that isn't really an aspect that we utilize too much, and maybe that's just because we know each other and we're not big at take that. But we use the locks in case that was something one of us was thinking. And so I could see if you're playing with a really competitive gamer and a not so competitive non-gamer, how that could get in the way a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. But the locks help with that. They help mitigate that and keep that a little bit under control.
Yeah.
So, anything you didn't like about it?
I felt like the tiles themselves were just a little meh.
Yeah.
I mean, there could have been a little bit more to draw your eye to it. that's really nitpicky because that does not change the gameplay at all.
Right.
But it could have been a little bit more. It's very National Geographic.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely does have a feel to that. You know, it has the lifelike pictures of the animals, and I like that. But it does kind of give you a feel of this is a National Geographic TV show.
So I don't know if maybe the tiles could be a little bit. It looks very clip art.
Well, I was gonna say it's very stark. It's very all like the blue is just blue, and there's not like a whole lot to distinguish it as being water. Or the sand is just yellowish kind of sand. I don't know. We are being a little nitpicky on that, but I would like maybe a little more details, a little bit more added into it to kind of make it look like water and feel like sand kind of thing to it. So yeah. For me, the game says 45 to 60 minutes, and I think it does go every bit of that.
Yeah.
I think it runs just a tad long.
Near the end, you're kind of
you're
ready to score.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe fewer tiles or just fewer animals in general would help alleviate that a little bit, but just a tad bit long there. So, all right, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give Komodo?
Really liked this game. I think I'd give it a solid 8.
Whoa, okay. All right. You really like this one.
I did. It was, we have a lot of tile laying games. It's something we tend to gear towards. But this is just a little bit different. And I really enjoy, especially at the end where you're, oh, it doesn't work there. Let me try this. Let me try this. Let me try this. I liked the thinkingness of it. So, yeah.
Now, I'm going to be completely honest on my score on this one. I think my score is influenced, and this isn't fair for me to say, but I think it is influenced because I know she really likes it. And I have said in several other videos that my experience as a gamer when gaming with non-gamers can be swayed by my feelings as to what the people around me feel towards the game. If I get the feeling that people are really enjoying the game, that helps me enjoy it. If I get the feeling that people are like, man, I'm ready for this to be over, then I'm like, okay, as much as I might like this, I'm ready for it to be over too, because I know you don't like it.
Yeah.
So because she likes that, I have a higher opinion on it. I would say I like this game about a 7.4. If I didn't think you liked it that much, I'd probably be like, well, it's maybe more like a 7.1, maybe a 7. So all of that to say, it's somewhere in that ballpark for me.
7.4.
Yeah, it is a good game. I don't know I'm bananas over it. It's a good tile laying game, and I like the weighty choices as far as building those habitats and getting the right animals that work for those habitats. I would like it to stand further apart from the whole genre of tile laying.
I think for me, if I can understand a game quickly and play it well the first time, that causes me to rate it higher. And this was one of those games. I got it. I understood it. I didn't have to ask a lot of questions going forward. And so that makes me feel like I can own that game better than just feeling like I'm playing it based on how Lance tells me to play it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there you go, guys. That's our thoughts on Komodo. It is from SchilMil Games. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know your thoughts on this one.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.